there folks, and welcome back to Creature Critz. This is part 2 of this special 2-part premiere episode, so if you haven't seen part 1 yet, be sure to check it out. With that out of the way, let's jump right back into it. So predictably but understandably, the Indominus Rex is a carnivore, deriving her meat-eating diet from her genetic makeup of mostly meat-eating animals. And I mean, why not? No park visitor would be impressed with this thing if it just sat around and ate plants like a sloth. Because as we all know, herbivores are gentle, loving creatures who would never hurt anyone. As far as the I-Rex's hunting behavior goes, it actually seems pretty realistic, sensible, and believable. She uses her heat-seeking ability to track down prey, just like the pit viper, sneaks up on the prey using her camouflage and body heat concealment abilities, like the cuttlefish and frog respectively, chases down the prey like the tyrannosaurids, uses her strong clawed arms to grab and slash at things like the therizinosaur, and kills the prey using her teeth and jaw strength like the Deinosuchus. Surprisingly, all these different creature abilities are used together very well, and this makes for a great working creature as far as her feeding goes. The only ability that she isn't able to put to use right away is her Velociraptor pack communication ability. This is because for the most part of the film, she is alone, the only one of her kind. It isn't until towards the end of the film do we get that big surprise when she communicates with the Raptor squad to hunt down the humans that all of her abilities come full circle. Still doesn't make sense that she ran away instead of joining the Raptors in the assault, but I guess we needed a better setting for the climax. The only way I can describe the I-Rex's roars is inconsistent. There are times when her roar sounds great, and there are times when it sounds restrained or really badly mixed. It just doesn't carry the same energy that it should. Listen to all these different times that she roars. See? It's kind of a little frustrating to listen to the inconsistent volume levels of this thing, especially when you consider that according to the JP Wiki, her roars are supposedly as loud as a jumbo jet taking off. Now compare that to the roars of the T-Rex from the first film. Yep, still awesome. Audibly loud and consistent. Now prior to doing any production research, I initially thought that the reason why the Indominus sounds so odd and weak is because the filmmakers wanted to avoid making too much noise that would disturb the dweebs in the next theater room watching their lame rom-coms. But after looking further into it, I found that the creature designers and sound mixers made the Indominus sound this way in order to literally irritate the viewers into not liking the hybrid. Yeah, you guys didn't need to do that. The viewers already hated this thing before they saw the film. All animals need certain habitats to warrant their existence. So does this creature match its habitat? Does this creature fit in with its proposed surroundings? That's impossible to tell since this thing was created and raised in a lab and contains the DNA of so many different animals, including ones that aren't even dinosaurs. However, the I-Rex was born in a lab, raised in a lab, and was planned to live out its life in a lab-controlled enclosure. And the I-Rex is wearing white. Huh, what do you know? I guess it does fit. We're good here. So here's the part of the show where I use my own artistic and creature building talents to try and offer up some possible fixes to the featured creature. I believe that in every bad design of anything, there's a good design trying to get out. Because art is subjective, I understand a lot of you folks out there might not like my proposals, and that's okay. I'm not saying my fixes are the best or that they necessarily fix everything wrong with this design. This is only what I would do if I were on the design team. To start off with, I'm only going by what is actually canon in the Jurassic Park universe in this case. What I mean is, I'm only going to take into account what animals Dr. Wu actually used to create the Indominus Rex. I've already seen many other fans out there come up with their own hybrid theropods, and most of them look really great. But for the sake of time and fairness, I'm just going to stick with what is in the movies. Okay, so here's a screenshot from the movie of when I-Rex is looking in through the glass of the gyrosphere where the two brothers Zack and Gray are trapped upside down. It's a nice eye. Kinda, I guess. I mean, you don't see too many theropods with cat eyes. But once again, it's just a little too safe. Even the colors are dull. Have you guys seen current paleo art recently? I'm not saying dinosaurs were all walking rainbows, but many of them more than likely did have some lively hues, especially about the face and eyes. One need only look at living birds to get a sense of this. So, about the eyes. You folks remember that cuttlefish that I mentioned earlier? Well, using a little Photoshop magic, I came up with something that I think is a bit more interesting. There! Now this is just a very quick edit I made. You feel that sudden unsettling feeling when staring at this? You see guys, sometimes being scared can be fun. And that was what the I-Rex was supposed to do but unfortunately failed at. Everyone by now has seen the horizontal cat slit pupils on most types of creatures. But I doubt that outside of online creature fan circles, many people have seen the W shape. All I did was use what the movie gave me, the cuttlefish. And to be honest, I might have also used a little inspiration for my own design as well. Well, we gotta take a quick break now, but we'll be back after these messages. Bargains can still be found, like sketch headshots starting at $25, portraits starting at $100, and solid chibis starting at just $45. Everyone could use more art in their lives, so contact Mallory Van de Standy to get a quote today. For more information, visit MatronicArt.com and see the entire list of commission tiers in the commission folder under the work section, and email at mgbartist@icloud.com. Openings are limited. Operators are standing by. This is MatronicTV. And welcome back. Now let's get back to fixing the I-Rex. Moving on to the rest of the body, I'll be working off this official clip art. Like I mentioned before, in every bad design, I believe there is a good design trying to get out. Right away, I would reconstruct the osteoderms to make them look more like those of the Carnotaurus. This will give the I-Rex a good she-devil look. You can also check out the awesome Indotaurus from the Jurassic World Alive game for comparison. Next, jack up these hand claws. I mean, really give this girl a nice mani. She deserves it. Now for a little orthodontal work. Upon first viewing, my friend and I never noticed that the I-Rex had an underbite. I only found this out after doing research for this video. So I'm going to extend the lower jaw even further, really give her a nice bulldog underbite worthy of the Spanish Empire. Along with that, not only would I accentuate the outer Deinosuchus teeth, but I would also give her another set of teeth under those teeth. Because there's no way you can mix in all those Tyrannosaurids together and not have at least one extra set included underneath those lips. Hey listen, you people wanted more teeth, you're getting more teeth. Common sense be extinct. Moving on, I would extend the spikes and quills, because as they are, they're so barely noticeable that they might as well not even be there. And I know what some of you might be thinking. But Gwen, all these big pointy things and stuff will make it so hard for manufacturers to make toys of this, since human children are as fragile as balloons. Well, that sure didn't stop them from making this into a toy. It's a well-known and common practice for toy manufacturers to round out sharp edges for safety. There is such a thing as slightly redesigning a subject to have more rounded areas. And speaking of redesigning, going back to the mouth, I suddenly got the wonderfully creepy idea to take away these boring nostrils and replace them with the pit viper heat pits. Eye slits and everything. Yes, lovely. I'd also carry over the osteo armor on her neck to the rest of her body for a nicer, buggier look. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, and let's not forget the eyes. The uncanniness is gonna keep flowing here. Bring back the cuttlefish eyes. Now for the tail. In its current state, there's no way this tiny tail would be able to counterbalance the IREX's very top-heavy design. So I would simply just make it longer, thicker, and follow it up with spikes and quills, allowing it to taper off like a crocodilian's. And last but not least, the body colors. I came up with this scheme which I think does a decent job of incorporating the cuttlefish while at the same time not being too glaring. I also gave her a more sinister tone overall, using common advertising tricks I learned while working as a graphic designer. This, along with her overall ugly and menacing looks, create a clear visual contrast with the nice natural coloring and looks of Rexian blue. So there you go. Just these small changes, and I think my design came out better than the original. In fact, many other people did the same thing, and also came up with much better designs. With all this in mind, I posed the question, where did the IREX go wrong? Let's head on over to the next section and find out. Going by both the Jurassic Park wiki and a very insightful interview with director Colin Trevorrow, the Indominus Rex went through a lot of changes during the film's development, which I think we all fully expected. There was first the idea of making her a fictional dinosaur found in China, but Trevorrow disagreed with this since it clearly lacked originality. The only way this idea might have worked is if the newly discovered Chinese dinosaur itself turned out to be a hybrid, thus bringing in the question of whether or not dinosaurs ever hybridize with one another just as wild animals do today. But thankfully, going with the established theme of resurrection through cloning that is the backbone of the Jurassic Park lore, this new antagonist dinosaur was to be a hybrid of pre-existing resurrected dinosaurs. Call me biased for being a hybrid creature myself, but I think this idea makes more sense and makes for a much more intriguing story for this soft reboot series. Unfortunately, the one thing that the director mentions in his interview is that he said the Indominus Rex's creation was really based on the requirements of corporate focus groups. It's this overly controlling environment that led to the failed creature design that we're left with. And it's not just focus groups that ruined this girl. You see, outside of the fictional world of Jurassic Park, the IREX was meant to serve the same purpose in real life. To get people to fork over their hard-earned cash, not just through gawking at her, but from buying up her merch. Ah yes, we can't forget about the merchandise. And I say this as someone who has owned many JP toys since childhood, and jealously guards them to this day. Sure, it's easy for me to point to focus groups as the main reason behind the death of creativity in media, and in many cases they are. But a lot of people seem to forget the true overreaching influence of merchandise manufacturers. I suspect that the main reason why the IREX turned out as bland and forgettable as she did is because having a complex, interesting dino design would make it harder for toy and action figure designers to replicate. Not that much harder, mind you. These are companies that are worth millions, if not billions, and the people who work at these places are very talented. But if going with the 0.01 version of a design means that we can save 0.45 cents on plastic, then so be it. So in case it wasn't clear already, I absolutely do not blame the director or any of the designers of the IREX for her lackluster design. Colin Trevorrow had a huge task on his hands bringing back the Jurassic Park franchise from that last failure. And in my opinion, he, along with the artists and designers, all did a really good job. Jurassic World overall is a fun flick that still stays true to most of the fundamental ideas from the original Jurassic Park novel and film. Only this time working around an actual working park. The true culprits of the IREX's failed design are the studio and the merchandise manufacturers. The director and artist don't get a choice in anything, so in a way, despite her failings, the IREX is actually a brilliant symbol of sorts. Further proof of the creativity bankrupt prison that is Hollywood, California, and American media in general. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Tune in next time when we critique another creature concept. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you'd like to fund my videos, consider donating to my Ko-Fi or PayPal accounts at these addresses. You could also commission me. And if you'd like to see my art, visit my website, www.matronicart.com. Thank you all so much for watching, and until we make contact again, I will see you all later.